Oh no, I have just run head first into a sales objections. What do you do? Gosh, this is so awkward. I hate sales objections. Doesn't everybody? Welcome. If you're new to this channel, I am Jessie and I help online coaches, consultants, and small business owners who have either never had sales training or don't resonate with the training that they've gotten walk into their brilliance and walk into abundance through sales. I am a soul-based sales coach who helps you really have authentic and genuine and aligned conversations with your prospects so that they're drawn to work with you. I help you gain your confidence and really enjoy selling. It is possible. So we look at sales from a whole new light that really can take your life and your business to all new places, since sales is the lifeblood of your business. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. So I can't say that I've really run into anybody who loves sales objections. Now, you may get better dealing with them over time, achieve some sort of mastery, and know instinctively how to handle them once you recognize them for what they are, which is what we're going to talk about today. But in all of my time being in sales, the general consensus is that people just don't love it when an objection comes up. And if you are newer on your sales journey or sales is not your specialty, when a sales objection comes up during a sales conversation, it can actually derail the entire call. Like, you just get to this place where it's, the client says something and you just don't know what to do. You take this big breath and the conversation just fizzles out. Like, you don't know what to do. And that's what we're going to avoid with this conversation. We're going to take you down a path where you have some confidence in what you need to do next when a sales objection comes up. So get ready. Pull out a piece of paper and take some notes, because I think this one's going to help you. Okay, so what is a sales objection? I will say that almost every sales conversation has some sort of an objection in it, right? You've gone through all of the conversation, you've done a really good job, you've shared with them what your offer is, and then they're like, well, I need to think about it, or whatever it is that comes up. So let's talk about what's going on right now. Now, I was on a podcast the other day, and that's what really prompted this whole conversation today, because the podcast host kept talking about sales objections and how she actually really just hates it when a sales objection comes up, because you're stuck there and it's awkward and then it's quiet and the conversation truly just dies. And after having such great momentum, this feels terrible, right? And both your prospect and you are left in a spot that just doesn't feel good. So I'm going to say that sales objections are really two things. I talk often about how people like to be polite on sales calls. So a sales objection, number one, really might be a potential client's way of saying no. Now, we don't want to hear that, I know, but a sales objection could be they just don't want to tell you no to your face. They want to kind of fluff it and give it a softness so they can step back and say, listen, I really just want to think about it, or I need to talk to my spouse, and then you never hear from them again. Well, this was likely a no. So we need to think about that could be what is going on here. Now, we're going to talk in just a second about how to handle that. The second situation that could be going on is that the objection is really your client thinking about the offer. They're trying to incorporate working with you and putting it into their already busy life. So they're thinking through, okay, I want to do this. I like what I'm hearing, but how do I make this work? And so they feed back to you some of the things that are coming up for them. It could be that they're not sure how they're going to pay for it. They're not sure if they have the time to do it. So they are just free thinking and sharing back with you how they're processing working with you and what comes up for them, right? So in this case, you're going to be looking at how you handle that in a separate manner. So let's push pause and we're going to go back on that's the two things that could be coming up in the moment. Let's talk now about how to handle each. Okay, so the sales objection comes up, right? And they're saying, I really want to think about it. So how do you handle it to find out whether that's actually a no or it's actually, I want to think about it? So what I always recommend to my clients is that when you get a sales objection, you just want to slow the conversation down again and start asking some questions. You want to say something like, listen, I totally appreciate that. We've just had a really big conversation and you've shared a lot with me and I've shared some things back on how I think I can help you. And I know sometimes it takes some time to process through all of that. So I'd like to know if you're trying to think about it, if you want to think about it, what's the first thing that comes to your mind that's top of mind for you that you're going to think about? When you ask this question, you're recognizing that they need time, but you're also taking it back on you that you want to understand what their main thing is that they want to think about, right? It's important for you to know that. What you're doing here is you're stepping into the role of being a problem solver. So if they say they want to think about it and then they say, gosh, I'm really busy and I'm not sure how I'm going to fit this into my schedule, you know that is the objection that you want to talk through with them. If they come back at you and they say, look, I don't really have an answer to that. I just want to think about it. I would pause and say, listen, I truly, totally appreciate that. And I just want to be plain here. If you think that this program is not the right thing for you, I'd really love to hear that from you. It's not an offense. I'm not offended by that. I would just like to learn from you really what you're thinking. If you don't think it's a good fit, I'd like to know why. This is a good moment for you as a business owner, for you as a coach, to learn from your client if it's truly a no, why it's a no. How valuable is that information to have? Now, again, we need to be a little bit bold in saying this, but if you preface it by saying, hey, listen, I'm always a student of what my clients might need. So if you share with me why you think this isn't a good match for you, it can really help me. Maybe there's some things that either I didn't explain well to you, or maybe there's some things that I need to add into my offerings that I'm not considering right now. This information truly helps you. So I hope you can see there's a difference between an objection that is truly a no, where they're just stalling, and then you have the opportunity to ask some questions to learn why it's a no. So, so important. But then if they give you an objection and they come back with some specifics, they're trying to figure out how to pay for it, they need to talk to their significant other, maybe they're trying to figure out how to fit it into their schedules. Some of these other common objections, when they tell you more about that, you know that they're really considering your offer and just trying to figure out how to fit it into their life. Those are two very different paths, both really helpful to you. And both of them give you an opportunity to do some troubleshooting that can benefit your business in the long run. So remember, if you get a sales objection, it could be one of two things. It could really be a no, where they're just being polite, or it could be, I'm really thinking about this and I'm trying to figure out a few details in my head that I'm not sharing with you to work this into my life. And that's where you want to dig into each to find out what's really deeper and beyond that. That helps you be a trusted advisor for them and see if you can help make your offer a good solution for them or not. Either answer is fine, right? You learn a lot if you're not a good match and they're willing to share that information with you. But if you find out what the problem is, and maybe you haven't explained something well, or they need to truly just think through it, You have more knowledge than you had before by pausing, asking more questions, and then, if that is the case, be sure to set up another call right there on the phone. Don't wait and say, hey, let's just follow up in a few days. Go ahead and set a follow-up time where you can get back with them. Give them the respect to allow them to think through it and see if there's anything you can do to help answer questions for them to make sure that they're thinking through it with all the information that they need. But set up a follow-up time so that you really can commit to each other to get an answer if you're going to work together or not. Now, I have other videos on how to handle specific objections. So if you're looking at how to deal with the I want to think about it, or I need to talk to my significant other, I do have those videos as well. So take a look for those and you will get details on how to handle each of those specific objections. But otherwise, if you've enjoyed this and found that it gives you a whole new perspective on what a sales objection is and how to handle it as they come up in your sales call, I hope it gives you a little more confidence and a little bit different perspective on what's going on so that you can proceed with the conversation still in a way that's impactful and meaningful to both you and your prospective client. If you've liked this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and share some comments below. I'd love to know what you think about it. And I look forward to seeing you next week with more non-pushy, soul-based sales tips that keep you aligned and drawing more new clients to want to work with you. Have a great week, my friend.